So I'm just about to click on the button that will make us join with the Mandalorians and ends us up in permanent wars against every main faction. But there's a reason that this is stated to be difficult, because you really have to plan what you will need and what you have access to. I have just blacklisted every faction in the game, and my ships are now restricted to my own sectors, save for a few fleets that I have sent to hunt pirates and stuff like that. We do have 5 jump beacons, one of them in each of my 4 sectors, so we can easily avoid NPC sectors and just jump over them. And one near the Mandalorians down here, so that we have easy access to the Yellow Corporation once we have joined the Mandalorians, because we won't be able to send our traders in any other faction's territory. A problem that we will have is that we don't have easy access to the Orange Corporation, where the nearest one is in Twisted Skies up here. And the Orange Corporation trades in a lot of important resources, including ore and thermal regulators. Thermal regulators are a ship crafting resource. They replace the quantum tubes from the vanilla mod. And I have already checked, this is the ship crafting part that we have the least access to, so we have to absolutely produce that ourselves in the future. And it needs ore. We cannot really buy ore, and we cannot really buy thermal regulators. I'm still depending on the stock that I had from the advanced game start. Hull plating I'm already producing myself, and the third component was the power converters or something, the computer parts of Star Wars basically. And for those we had a big loot haul in this sector here, where we found like 6,000 parts, which is sufficient to build like 2 big destroyers or something. So we won't run out of that either. But we don't have thermal regulators, and we have no one which will be able to sell us those goods, because the Mandalorians, when they arrived, they didn't get many resources, and every ship crafting part will be restricted from trade. They won't trade with that, they will keep them for themselves. And the only place where we could buy ore or thermal regulators really in large quantity would be a Orange Corporation. And it will take a while until we can connect one of those to our empire. So that will be a big thing in the future, to get access to those 2 resources. Now, which faction should we attack first? It might seem to be a good idea to start with the rebels, because they are fairly small and they are occupying a few sectors right in between ours. So that would actually prevent that NPCs are traveling through our sectors all the time, you could think. But this is Star Wars Mayhem 3 with unique factions, and the rebels actually have a special ability that is also listed in the faction dossiers. And this is a new section in the encyclopedia which replaces the old race information. And here you now also get a lot of gameplay related info, not only in the general description, also in this new special section, which quickly lists all the advantages and disadvantages that this faction has. And one of the big advantages of the Alliance is that they have a Hyperjump ability. Their fleets can just use outposts, their own outposts, as jump beacons. No other faction is able to do this, and to balance things out, the rebels are very small, and they also don't have very strong fleets. But if you ever attack a rebel sector, you will soon learn that all of their small fleets are able to quickly converge on that location. So if I attack this sector here, for example, to make use of the adjacency bonus perk, for example, and to get a connected empire, then the sector would issue an alert when I start to kill ships and rampage, and the alert level will be hot, and this draws NPC squadrons to the defense. And all alliance squadrons, even the ones down here, are able to quickly teleport over here, and you will have a big fleet, the big fleet of the alliance, to defend this place. So they are much stronger than it might seem at first, because they can respond so quickly. And what I would rather like to do is to maybe wait with those sectors, not attack them right now, because maybe the alliance gets attacked by another faction. So for example, the Mandalorians, which are now rampaging with strong battle groups, they might attack an alliance sector, for example this one. And then the alliance might pull their entire forces into the sector, lose the battle, and then they have no military ships anymore. And then it would be an easy task to invade those 3 sectors here and claim them. A good first target seems to be this sector, because not only does it have very good stats, especially a high station support limit, so we can build all those factories that we so desperately need because we don't have access to certain resources. But it is also a Republic sector, and the Republic also has this quirk that they are very efficient and powerful in the middle stage of your playthrough, which has just started. So right now they are still very weak, and if we attack them right now, we might prevent to fight 2 strong fleets later, if that makes any sense. So this will be our first target. I'm also gonna use my previous looter ships, which I don't need for the time being. So those 3 DP-20s, which defended my sector from an Imperial task force before, I have formed a new fleet with them, and I will use those as a general defensive measure, because we will have a few hostiles showing up soon. This is my cavalry fleet, so they are responding to slightly more dangerous threats. We are setting them to ignore any freighters. Don't want to go hunt freighters. Just military ships, and then monitor all sectors of our own. And if an enemy military ship shows up, they will try to take them down. I have pulled the fleet out of dry dock and moved them into the Republican sector, which has a battle group, a Republican battle group present, but Republic battle groups in the early game are really a joke. They are nothing more than police forces, really, and we shouldn't have any problems. Now the only thing left is to get our own ass to safety, because I'm still in a new Republic sector and don't want them to melt me. The show is going down. So we are flying into one of our own sectors where we have a strong grip. And I think it will also pay off that I have placed all my stations a bit outside at the sector borders. That way you don't immediately draw attention from any ships which are just passing through the sector. Especially capital ships where the turrets might like to shoot at you, or also have a few mercenaries, but those should remain neutral and we can even hire those in case we need them. Alright, so let's push the button. Going back to the quest. And we join the Mandalore. Now, we also got a Keldabe battleship, and that will be in any Mandalorian sector. So let's hope it spawns somewhere nearby and doesn't have to travel through the entire galaxy to get to us. It's in Perpetual Sin. Well, that could have ended up worse. Don't think there are any strong fleets on the way, just a few alliance fleets, so we will still play it safe. Our battleship is here, we will fly through that Republican sector, which has almost no defenders, and then get through those friendly Mandalorian sectors and meet our new battleship up with the rest of the fleet, which is just invading from the east. That sounds like a plan. So we fly to this sector here first. Okay. Now we will have a small chaotic phase until the guard fleet, the cavalry deals with most of the enemies. We also have a guard fleet from the New Republic, but I think they are just crossing. Yeah, this shouldn't be a problem. They are just trying to get to their own sector. We will have to deal with this Republican fleet. It's quite strong. And that's the one that also defeated the Imperial battle group together with us. That's going to be a slight problem, maybe. Yeah, our fleet is already starting to take out the first Alliance police forces. And those new Mandalorian plot choices also give you a small description and advice what you should do. And with this Mandalorian alliance that we just signed, we absolutely have to pick up the pace. And because we have a 2-day timer, which will trigger the final plot stage, and then our friends get very weak and the enemy is very strong. Basically, they get a production discount right now that they will lose in the last stage, and also the possible fleet sizes will shrink again. So it's important to get a head start and take a few sectors and get powerful while weakening all the other factions. And we also just got every Mandalorian ship blueprint, so we can immediately start to build ships. And I will do so right away. But first we will select the new perks in our outposts, because we also got 5 additional perk slots from the permanent wars that we just signed. The biggest thing that you get with the Mandalorian option is a big production bonus on all outposts. And this actually kicked off this shield project here, these 25 megajoule shields. They are supposed to equip a couple of E-wings, which have been waiting on these outposts to get their equipment. And I didn't have the resources at the time. But suddenly we get this huge specialization increase, and then we had enough resources and the project kicked off from the production queue. This bonus will be active on our current outposts. That means the outposts that we build in the future won't have it. And that means that I will like to turn all 4 of them into ship production centers, even if we might not need 4 ship producing outposts right now. I still want to keep them as a reserve, also in case that we maybe lose one of them throughout the game and then we have to use the other ones. So I don't want to do anything else with them but building ships. Still, we have so many perk slots that we can probably get everything that we want. So I'm trying to go for advanced engineering on all of them. This increases my construction time, but since we are so specialized, this kind of balances itself out. So our maintenance will be lower if we take that. We are also going for the extra engine tuning on each outpost. And we can... How many do we have? 3 more. Well, I might pick them later. I'm also toying with the no food consumption. This will leave us more food to sell, but actually our food supply chain is already set up, so we don't really need this right now. The Ring of Fire can also be nice. This gives us laser towers. And the tax perk should not be taken on shipyards because this reduces your population growth rate. And if you're building a lot of fighters very quickly, then you will run into troubles and your construction speed will suffer a lot. So I'm not going to take the tax perk, even if the population is very good on all stations. I think I might leave it at this for now. We can get everything with the adjacency bonus perk later, but for now I want to remain stable. Just lost a trader in our own sector, so we have to deal with that. But first let's unlock the perks. Advanced engineering and extra engine tuning. And we can also take the dry dock on every outpost. Yeah, they are really killing our traders now. So even the outpost that is producing our stations is also getting the ship construction stuff that we can start building ships immediately. And we are going for garbage quality for now to save a few resources. Now let's see what we want to build. This is also very cheap now because we are so specialized, so we don't consume that many resources. I want to start with a few couple strong fighters. For example, the Star Viper should be good. Just uses 1 population unit, so let's start with one of those. And then we can set up the template. This outpost also just built another freighter, including the equipment, when it saw that we lost a trader in the other sector. So that is fully automated. Now Depths of Silence is my big sector with which holds the most resources. So let's start to build one of the bigger ships. But we actually don't have enough thermal regulators for that, so we are already running into this shortage. So let's go for a corvette instead. Since we have unlocked all of them, we can also get a bit creative and test a few of them out. I will start with this one here. Don't even know what that is. We will see. Oh, there was trouble in the vault. But our cavalry is already taking over. It's actually in my current sector. And they have already dealt with the problem. So that's really very valuable to have a few corvettes in a fleet which is just responding to threats in your own sectors. And here another corvette is coming. I think this one has a larger cargo hold, yes. That was the reason why I left this one as a looter, because we just dropped a lot of chemicals, which is very nice. That is also something that I didn't really think about yet. We will get a lot of loot just from killing all the freighters in our own sectors and then having our looters pick the stuff up. So this should be a very good additional benefit. The fleet has also arrived in the invasion sector, and we can trigger our station attack. From now on, it's going to be a lot more dangerous to traverse the galaxy. These are exactly the kind of smaller fleets that the Alliance has. A couple of corvettes and fairly strong fighters. And they have a lot of those fleets, so them being able to respond and instantly reach every sector kind of makes me want to avoid them for now. I didn't actually fight the rebels much yet in previous test games, but I have seen them responding very, very quickly. It's not so much a problem once you have fairly strong fleets, but in this early stage, when we are still struggling a bit to get a military leg up, the Alliance is still a formidable foe. But we also just got our battleship here. And once we are closer, I'm going to activate the turrets just for the lulz. It's not the strongest ship in the game, but still pretty top tier. And it can also use a good mix of guns with very good compatibility, better than other factions, for the Mandalorians in general and the pirates. So you can also kind of use the lasers that you like most with this ship. And even though it's powerful, I still want to get to my main fleet, because the group is really the best defense that you can get in the early game. Yeah, we probably have to upgrade this crappy rear turret here. And you can see that I balanced the accuracy of the guns so that cap ships are now also missing fighters. So they are not pinpoint accurate. This was a bit of a thing in Mayhem 3. Also the high projectile speed. So cap ships were very accurate against fighters and could easily take them down, even in sector. That's a tiny bit different in Star Wars, just for the style, so that you can also stick around larger ships when you are in a fighter and still survive. Just to give a bit of a better dogfight feeling. This might not be as delicately balanced like other mods, but I am enjoying it a lot. You know what? We might actually be able to prep the Alliance for the invasion of those 3 sectors here, because we can now also tell the Mandalorians which sectors they should attack. And they do have a strong battle group at the ready in this corner of the galaxy. So if we tell them to attack a sector... No, this one is pretty good. We might want to grab that ourselves, but let's say this one here. And if they attack here, the rebel forces will join to defend and maybe die. And then we can easily grab those. Sounds like a plan. So Dark Waters. Let's tell the Mandalorians to focus on Dark Waters. And maybe that works. So we now don't have to pay any cost for the favor action, but still you can only select one of them at any given time. So priority will make their battle groups prioritize the sector. And this is now ongoing for 8 hours. And hopefully they will choose to invade it. The CIS is starting to incorporate a few new designs into their fleets. For example, this Recusant destroyer. Ships are getting bigger. And they are defending this corner sector that I'm trying to use in order to intercept every traffic that is coming from them, so that we can put a nice defense on those 2 gates. And I have started to kill a few factories. The sector has issued an alert and now we get a lot of response from them. They've also started using those tri-droid fighters, which are an upgrade to their previous stuff. And we got the sector. Let's build an outpost. I think I will go right in between the two gates that we want to shield. Like so. Yeah, that causes a notoriety hit, but we are already hostile. And then we will activate the tax perk so that we get some money from the sector. We also get energy. We want a ring of fire, a laser tower defense line, no food consumption so that the population can grow on its own. And we still have 4 perks left. So we could go for insurance policy, definitely, yes. And later maybe the EMP, in case a big CIS fleet trying to come by. And we are very lucky because the Mandalorians have finally decided to attack the sector that I told them to, so that will hopefully draw some attention from the Alliance, and then we can finally focus on those sectors and get rid of them. Ah, the sneaky Alliance has just killed one of my jump beacons. That's always a risk, that one of their task forces is slipping by. Let's see if we can save what's left from our guard force, but we have 4 fighters and my guys are almost dead. So we have to make a run for it and get a few fighters from the nearby fleet. To protect me and then clean those up. I think they are also faster than me, which is a problem. Fortunately, a few of my traders are also armed, so we might be able to win just with our freighters. Because they are so well shielded, the New Republic freighters. Well, I got a few replacement beacons, so shouldn't be too much of a setback. The TL is already on its way to replace it. But for the time being, we have a bit of a movement problem. I will have to strengthen my sector defense. Damn, this is going out of hand. I'm ejecting the freight so that we don't lose it and the looters can collect it back. And we should first jump into another ship. And then hire some mercenaries, because I saw that we had a group in the sector. Couple of advanced B-wings. That's really fun when the enemy gets you by surprise and suddenly kills your entire transport network. but it's under control. I really should put up some stationary defenders on this gate here. That's where they slipped through. And I would want to make sure that this doesn't happen ever again. Because things like that can seriously mess us up. I found that those Vigo corvettes are decent looters. They are quite fast and have the largest cargo hold of all corvettes that I have available. Almost as much as my freighters. So they make for excellent loot haulers that can also defend themselves and potentially help out in a pinch. And I think I will build more of these guys. I'm slowly breaking even with money, so that account is always fluctuating about 2 millions, around 2 millions. And that is mostly because I'm hauling so much loot from these guys in. And mostly in this sector where the NPCs try to go for this trading station and we frequently kill their freighters and they drop crystals and everything they want to sell to this station. So this was a very lucrative pirating operation down here. But now we have to take care of that stationary defense for our sectors, especially this one. This Alliance sector is currently under attack from the Mandalorians, and I think they will be able to take it, but I still want to put some guards on this gate until the sector is finally secure. So I'm building 3 of those very tough DP-20s in 3 different outposts. That will be completed the fastest. And now I'm also able to comfortably build in those 4 outposts here. These are the very high level outposts which are specialized. So that should be very good that we have now resources in all of them. And that means we can quickly crank out more ships in case we need them. I just saw that the New Republic is invading my sector. I don't think their forces are too strong yet. Fortunately, I didn't put satellites in the border sectors to see what they have. But I think if we just bring the main fleet for now, that should be good. We have a jump beacon in this new sector already, so they can quickly move over to the sector which is under attack. We'll just position them in between the gates and our factories and see what's coming. Now we finally have the CIS on lockdown. The laser towers are doing a great job in killing the freighters. They are pretty tough, especially the shield is recharging quickly. And our looters are already going for the freight they have dropped, which will be another nice addition to our economy and bank account. Seems like we have a missile frigate coming up. And it's loaded with 200 artillery missiles. Damn, that could make a real dent in our fleet. So the best chance we have is to rush in and get close and kill it quickly. Not an easy task when you are sitting in a big battleship, but we can raise the scanning range to the maximum to make all of our ships just rush in and go for the kill at their own pace. At least our shields are strong. And we should be able to last a while. They also start using bombers now. K-Wing. So a cool looking ship. I also have a couple of my defense forces joining, so this should be an easy fight. And he's dead. Let's focus fire on this remaining frigate. I think this must have been their strongest battle group in the area. Biggest invasion force that they had. Damn, I must really take this sector. For some reason my response fleets are often traveling through it. They don't take the jump beacon route because they think it's better to just go the direct way. Probably because the jump beacons are further apart than actually flying here. I don't know exactly how they measure the distance, but it doesn't seem to be just the sector count. They must have also considered the actual flying distance, because otherwise they wouldn't try to fly through there. It's on! The Mandalorians are serving us well as a distraction for the Alliance. And they are destroying a few of their guard forces. Which is perfect for us. My fleet is just licking its wounds a bit from the previous engagements, and then we will be off attacking the rebel sectors. Praying that they have been weakened enough. For that stationary guard fleet, I'm using a cheap fighter to become the fleet commander and then add the 3 corvettes, move him to the position that I want to defend, which is the south gate in this case, and then give the fleet a scanning range and tell them to stay there and just kill enemies. And as soon as an enemy comes through the south gate, they will take them out. And this will hopefully prevent that we lose any more jump beacons in the sector. The Mandalorians have dealt a knockout punch to the Alliance fleet, and that opened the opportunity for us to go in, and I'm currently attacking those 2 sectors. This one is about to fall, and here we have a couple of new fleets that I'm building. I have started to use my resources for various loop productions of certain ship types. We have a loop production for a corvette, a light fighter, and 2 loop productions for heavy fighters. And I will let that run for a bit, get a few fleets ready, and then we will have to stop this again to save some resources, because we are running low on cash again, and we need to sell more stuff and stop building ships eventually. But I just want to push through this just to consolidate my empire, then I can effectively defend the entrances. This one here is pretty solid. We're getting a few holes in our laser tower line, but if it gets too serious, I can position various fleets. Right now we also have this southern flank secured with this rebel sector gone. And the most pressing issue is this sector. The New Republic just took out a jump beacon that I had placed here, and I'm losing them a bit faster than I would like. I had actually stopped to produce my jump drive cores, because that consumes crystals that you can also use to build weapons and shields. But losing those beacons, I have resumed the production of those cores. And I have also started to put some stationary defenders on the gates in the sector. Going to move them a bit closer so that they actually get the intruders when they enter the sector. Just a couple of corvettes who are trying to keep them out, because we are continuously getting intruders and they start to kill freighters and beacons, and that's just not sustainable. And we still have to deal with the south gate. The sector up here is rather secure because I have put all of my stations far away from the traffic lane, and we frequently get very strong New Republic fleets which are just passing through. But those are purely defensive fleets and they cannot really attack us. So we are sitting rather secure. And I just want to get rid of those sectors in between my empire for now. I've also told the Mandalorians to stay away from this sector, because with that one we will have a nice 4 sector pocket here and can even make use of the adjacency bonus perk to get another perk slot in each sector. This sector has a very good solar intensity, so it's going to be an energy hub. I ran a bit low on energy up until now, and this is the point where we will change this. And the fleet itself is going to invade up here, just using the weakness of the rebels right now before they get strong enough. I'm gonna put the outpost in between the east gate and the south gate. that we can establish a nice trade route between those 3 sectors here. And then put solar plants in here. Just a bit behind the gates. I don't really need another jump beacon in here. I'd rather have those at my borders to move my fleets around very quickly. And we already got another task force creeping up. I bet you are after another of my beacons. Yeah, I would bet for that. Oh no, I think they are going for this satellite here. I'm trying to get them with my fleet. I really have to invest into another interceptor fleet of very fast fighters which can catch those runners, which are always launching hit and run attacks against me. They don't deal much damage, but when they get your jump beacons, then your entire logistical network is collapsing. So that can be very dangerous if you cannot fix that quickly. That's another reason why we need to stock up on jump beacons in case we need to replace them. And maybe even invest into a second TL so that we can have one in this corner of our empire and then one at the other corner in case a jump beacon needs replacement. But for now, let's choose the perks for the new outpost. We are definitely going for the adjacency bonus. That ramps our perk slots up from 8 to 11, so we can essentially take everything here. The dry dock, the EMP, the faster research. Well, I'm going to wait with that. But we are taking the insurance policy, no food consumption, the ring of fire, because the outpost is rather central. So the laser towers are in range. We are taking the solar panels, which are very efficient in the sector, and the tax. Yeah, I'm going for faster research, whatever. All right. Now the second sector is a bit slower because I don't have any heavy guns in those fleets. But eventually we will have cleared this one out too. And then we take this one and probably this one and secure another defensive line. I basically want to take this entire southwestern corner of the map. I don't know how far the Mandalorians are gonna get with their conquering. But their powerful battle group is already moving up to Dana's chance, and then I think they will choose another target. Probably one of those sectors here. Savage Spur. They just claimed it. Yeah, that's fine. This will boost their economy a lot. With 14 support slots, they can get a lot more factories. And their initial resource starvation is also slowly getting fixed. I'm supplying them with various resources. We have a jump beacon down here and another one down here, so my traders have access to those Mandalorian sectors. And that is what is making us a bit of money and also enabling them to build more ships. And apparently we did a really good job because there is currently no strategic resource shortage for the Mandalorians, so they have an ample supply to build more ships. We could actually activate the mapping service so that they place a few satellites for us, because they have quite a few sectors up here. And for a very long time now I have been blind what's going on up here. I know that the Empire is staging a few invasions in this northern part against the Republic and against the CIS, but we will see how this develops. For now it's still rather stable and the fleets are still in development. They are producing more and more ships, but they are still not quite there. The Republic just got their first Venator, it seems. So they are starting to sport their Clone Wars tech, and maybe they will clash with this Mandalorian battle group that's coming up to them. And the task force actually got catched by my laser towers, so that was a good idea. They didn't get to kill anything in my empire. About half a day later, the rebels are all but wiped out, at least from this part of the galaxy, and we have a small 9-sector empire. And that gives us enough factory support slots to strive for more self-sufficiency in our component production. And we also focus our attention on the New Republic. I am a bit more careful and keep my fleet together because I have observed a few strong ships which have been traveling through my sectors. They didn't attack them, they only wanted to get to the New Republic sectors down here, and they traveled through all my empire. It has been a bit scary, so I'm just keeping my ships together just in case we need to fight them. But this battle should be rather easy, and the New Republic doesn't stand a chance. But we are still on a bit of a time limit, because when we joined the Mandalorians, we essentially made a deal with the devil, because we only have 2 days, and afterwards the final plot stage will trigger. And for this game, this essentially means that all of our enemies are getting very strong with production boni and bigger fleets than usual, and our allies, the Mandalorians, will get weaker. And before that happens, I would like to conquer as many sectors as I can get. especially in this corner down here, so that we can establish some more defined front lines which are easier to defend and also don't have enemy ships which try to travel through our space. Because we don't have the power yet to completely deny access to enemy fleets, and it's always a bit hairy when their ships are switching home base and try to pass my territory. This is always making it difficult to keep certain patrols alive, which are guarding gates and stuff like that. So consolidating this corner of space and bringing it under the control of myself or the Mandalorians has a priority. But we only have about a day left until the final plot stage triggers, and I don't think that we can conquer the remaining sectors before that happens. At least not if I play it safe and keep my fleet together and only invade one sector at a time. But this time limit is also not very strict. It's more of a soft time limit, because the enemies will not get stronger immediately, and also the galaxy-wide OCV invasions will not happen straight away. We still get another day to prepare, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. We do have an energy hub now, which will support us with energy cells for a very long time. And I also have all of the basic components. We can now produce them ourselves. We don't need to buy that much. And the money situation is also pretty good. We are slowly going up with the bank account. And after this battle, I would like to check which factories we actually need to build, because the Mandalorian plot gave us 4 very efficient outposts for ship production, and I don't think that we need that many more resources, because our ships are basically so cheap that our current empire is almost enough to keep them running at a very good pace. So every sector that we conquer from now on is mostly for strategic reasons, to weaken our enemies or to deny them certain parts of space. But what we don't need anymore is to look at sector stats. So getting sectors with high sun intensity or a lot of population or support slots is not that important anymore, because my current economy is already very solid. And we can focus on the really important locations, the ones which deny access to the enemy, basically. Where we can set up good defenses with the EMP, for example. And right now I'm invading here, and I would like to get to at least here during the next day, so that we can eliminate the New Republic from this area, because the New Republic is one of the factions which will get especially powerful in the late game, and we won't want to have them around when they get their buffs. The Last Jedi is an absolute train wreck of a movie, but at least we get some cool ships in it. For example, this large plug here. And this is one of the ships that the New Republic is building lately. Large cruisers, and they're going to fill them up with many fighters. And it has a scary large shield. With this kind of firepower in the neighborhood, it's not going to be easy to take those sectors.
2 hours later.
Oh no, the Last Jedi Space Karen is coming for me. But we do have a surprise. Which is an EMP blast. that I will trigger and then kill her with smaller ships. Boom! That's like 80% of your health gone in an instant. And behind that gate we have a strike cruiser. And that thing with a small detachment should be able to deal with her, so that we don't have to pull our entire invasion fleet away from the New Republic sector. Although the missiles are doing quite some damage to us, so we will probably lose this ship, but I can easily build more of them. That's a bit unexpected. We have to bail. I didn't even manage to teleport from the ship, so let's quickly get out of here with the spacesuit. And hope that we don't get an artillery missile to the face while our fleet engages. And I have to find another ship, for example the Katana cruiser. I really underestimated their missile frigate. It dealt so much damage to me while I was approaching. Yeah, stop, boy. And there is another corvette gone. He is really hammering me. And Space Karen isn't even in range yet.